Hey teachers, so I'm going to walk you through what a modified history resource looks like for two peas and a dog. So this particular resource has I think it's over 20 lessons, and they try to follow as close as they can to the lessons in my non-modified unit. So all of the modified history lessons try their very best to follow the format, sorry, not the format, the content, but it's very heavily modified compared to my regular units. So here's an example. In both the modified and non-modified, we discuss why students need to study history. Now, depending on your class, you might need to have this as an additional activity or as an activity in lieu of a whole class discussion. So the students would read this or they would listen to the audio file. Then they would cut out each of these statements, and then they would have to decide if it's yes or no. And then there's an answer key for the teacher, or if the student has any support, this can be provided to the support person so that they are able to make sure the student is understanding their work. Another lesson would be their important event sorting activity. So they have to read this article or listen to the audio file, and then they need to write the year that these happened so they can go back into the article and find that. And then they can cut these out and paste them into the timeline. And there's only four dates that they're looking for. Whereas in my non-modified unit, I think it's 25 or 30 different cards, and the students need to work in groups to sort those cards out. And there's also an answer key provided. And then another one, the whole class is going to be watching these video clips, but instead of them having to take notes, they just have to write the words in from the word bank on where they belong. And so then there's also an answer key. And then another one is students have to look at the different photographs, and they have to explain what is the object in the photograph, what is the purpose and function of the object, what materials was the object made from, and how might an early settler in Canada use the object. And then what I ask them to do is, instead of writing it down, they're going to do some interactive folding notes where they'll have to cut out each of these, fold them and glue them into their notebook, and then they'll have to cut these out and stick them underneath the flap that they've created. So each of these lessons is it's taking the content of the non-modified unit, so it aligns with the Ontario curriculum for that grade level, but it is significantly reduced reading and writing expectations. For modified units, inquiries are also included. However, they are incredibly structured. So for this unit, there is a fur trade inquiry, and there is one guiding question, and students watch videos about the fur trade. Then they can listen or they can read independently about the fur trade. It's a 2-page article that's provided. And then the students are to consider the ways, so then they have to think about this. So here's the article, and then they have to write true or false, depending on if the statement is true or false. And so students are still participating in an inquiry like their peers, but it is very structured. This unit also contains MP3 audio files for all student readings. It contains Google self-marking quizzes in case that is an option at your school, and it contains the individual PDFs in case you want to upload these to a learning management system like Google Classroom, as well as the Google Slides version of the lessons. So instead of students having to cut and paste, if you don't have access to scissors or glue or you're working online, students can then just manipulate the images and the text in a Google slide, and they can just matching in the Google slide. So this is an overview of what a modified history unit looks like from Two Peas and a Dog. Thanks so much.